The story of my special guest is classic showbiz rags to riches. It's about a young woman from a disadvantaged background becoming a pop star and singing for a future king and queen. She is Ellie Goulding. Welcome to Masterclass. Ellie Goulding was born to struggle. Her father walked out of the family home when she was 5, leaving her mother to bring up 4 children. She didn't get on with her stepfather. The family fought hard to survive. Against his background, she worked her way through university, became a singer-songwriter, selling millions both here and across the pond. She sang for the Obamas as well as for William and Kate. One critic said of her voice it displayed the rarest of all qualities, that of being totally original.
Everybody goes, oh, everybody's story, oh, my
Ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Goulding. I said it's your life story is like a fairy story, isn't it, really? Coming from a background that you came from to where you are now.
Yeah.
You see it that way, do you?
Yeah, now I do. Now I've had a little bit of time to reflect on the last few years, which have been, safe to say, a bit crazy. Yeah, now I think, when I sort of in retrospect, I do think that, yeah.
Well, I mean, what got you through? Because the background was not a good one. I mean, from that kind of background, some young people could have gone under. You know, it could have been the normal story, you know, don't get a job on the dole, you know, pregnant at 17, whatever it might be, the classic sort of story of that background that you came from. So what was it that took you away from that, do you think?
Well, I very nearly did go down that path, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. When I was a bit of a rebel. When I was kind of 14 onwards, people would call me a goth. I had long black hair, which was real long black hair, and I had piercings, and I liked heavy metal music, and the rest of it. And
drugs?
Yeah, I definitely had a period of drinking and being a bit crazy, but you know, I had no idea what my future was going to be then. Genuinely, if I could think of now, back then, obviously things would have been different, but I think I thought that there wasn't going to be one necessarily. So yeah, it was about 18 I sort of pulled my socks up a little bit and started being a bit more sensible, and that's when I started running, and I met somebody who influenced me to keep fit and to run.
You met an older man, didn't you? You were 18, he was 30, and you described him as your saviour.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, that he took you away from the path you were going down to somewhere else.
Well, yeah, I didn't have a father figure at all. So I think naturally when I met this person who became an extraordinary friend to me, he taught me so much, just the simplest things that I'd never known. And then the most important thing probably was my fascination with running and keeping fit, and that steered me in a very different direction to what I could have gone.
And also university. I mean, he suggested that you should go to university.
Yeah, he'd been to university. He'd studied sound engineering, and he went on to make sound on films and stuff. And I wasn't going to go to university. I remember a couple of friends coming up to me and asking me what I was up to in a Hereford club, and I said that I'd given up singing because I sang at open mic nights and I played my guitar. And I said, I've kind of given up. I've stopped singing. You know, don't think I'm that good at it, and whatever. And they were truly shocked that I'd sort of given up on everything, and I'd got a job. I got a few jobs in a pub, theatre, a clothes shop, and that was going to be it, really. You know, like my siblings were working, and yeah, I didn't. That was sort of going to be it until I decided that I would try university. So I wrote the University of Kent a letter. I didn't go and audition or anything, and I'd really wanted to study theatre. And I wrote them a letter and I begged them to let me on the course. And they must have liked the letter. I can't remember it. I wish I could see it now. But yeah, and they accepted me in without meeting me or...
But I'd like now to pick on what I said in the introduction there, that here you were, from that background, all of a sudden you're catapulted to fame, and all of a sudden you're at the White House.
I suppose America really took off for me because actually I toured there for a bit. I went back and forth, played shows. I did Saturday Night Live and did big TV shows, and it wasn't really happening. And then I came back a bit disheartened and sort of thought I'd gone the way that a lot of British musicians do when they try and crack America, and thought,
Tough.
Yeah, it is. You really have to invest time in America, otherwise it just doesn't work. So anyway, I came back, started recording my second record, and then I started getting a lot of phone calls and emails about this song, Lights, that had suddenly gone mad. I think it got a Billboard record for being having the slowest climb to #1.
But what about Willie McKay? How did that happen? I mean, because that must have come out of the blue.
Well, I came off stage at actually Radio 1 Big Weekend Festival they have every year, and I literally just got off stage and I was sweating and just exhausted and just, you know, out of breath, and this person comes up to me and says, "Ellie, that was just brilliant, like really good, like great to meet you." And I was like, "Thank you." "Oh, Prince William, hello." And then I kind of, you know, forgot about it, and quite a few months later I got a phone call from somebody, a mysterious person. I didn't know who it was. And then actually my friend answered it because I was too scared to answer it because it was an unknown number and I'm a bit silly like that. And they just said, "I'll call back," and then put the phone down. And they called back again, and I think I was walking to the gym in London somewhere, and she said, "I've got a person coming down to your rehearsals." And it was all very mysterious and didn't know what was going on, I didn't know what it was about. And then somebody came down to my rehearsals. I think my band asked me who it was, and didn't really know. And it was just all really mysterious, you know, for a while. And then when I found out, I was completely overwhelmed. But I also kind of didn't believe it. I didn't believe it was real. I actually thought I was like a decoy for someone else because there were so many names being thrown about as to who was going to perform, and I thought that I was a decoy or something.
But what was it like when the door opened and the party came towards you?
The scariest moment of my entire life.
I mean, the Queen was there and all of them were there.
Yeah, they were all there.
Yeah. And there you are with your guitar going, oh.
Well, actually, myself and Chris, who's going to be performing with me later, we were about to play your song. And so it was just me and Chris. Well, the band was still on stage too, but I looked at Chris and Chris looked at me, and we knew exactly what we were both feeling. And then, everyone piled into the room, and it was like, go. And it was the most nerve-wracking moment of my life. But I knew I had to hold it together because I really wanted it to be perfect. So something happened, and suddenly the fear kind of came off, and I did it.
And what do you get from that? Did you get, a huge praise from the Royal Party? Did you get a fee? Did they invite to spend the weekend with them or anything like that?
I ended up seeing Prince Harry after that night. I guess because I was invited back to something, not in that way. But yeah, and they really enjoyed it. Everybody came up to me and was so grateful and happy, and they were treating us like we were, special guests, which is ridiculous.
That's not ridiculous at all.
But yeah, it was. They were just so lovely and friendly.
Good.
And
Great.
yeah.
You must have pinched yourself, a girl from the council estate, eh?
Exactly.
There you were.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, why your song? What particularly, was that one of their favourites? Is that what they wanted?
That was the one that they wanted.
Right.
Well, they wanted that one for the first dance, and then I played album songs and covers and all sorts. I really enjoyed
So it's a
performing
good song.
Yeah,
It's
it's
stood
a good
the
one.
test of time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to sing that now, aren't
Yeah.
you? Your song, Ellie Goulding.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both can live. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do. You see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is a song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is now you're in the world. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no. Or a girl who makes potions in a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is a song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is now you're in the world.
When did you? I mean, you never rated yourself as a singer, did you?
No.
No. So when you were at school, I mean, did you get cast in musicals or plays and things?
I tried my hardest to audition for stuff, and I wanted to be in everything, but I never got a main part necessarily when I was young. And then all of a sudden, I must have gotten a voice from somewhere because I auditioned to be. We just had like operatic society and stuff like that around where I lived. It was the middle of nowhere, and I auditioned, I think, to be in the chorus because I've gotten so used to just doing, chorus stuff. And then they said they called back the next day and asked if I wanted to actually be Dick Whittington, and that was my first thing where I was singing and acting and all that. And then I started getting into theatre a lot more.
I suppose in a way too. I mean, it was an escape from the reality of home life, wasn't it? In a sense?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I wasn't the only one in my situation actually.
No, I'm sure.
Because I had a lot of friends who'd didn't necessarily know their father or live with their father, or had one parent at home, and other people living on my council estate. I lived on one council estate, and then when my little sister got too big, we moved up to another council estate, but I still shared my bedroom with my two sisters, and still pretty crowded. But yeah, so a lot of us would get into music and theatre because it was a good way of escaping from stuff, and we'd get together and we'd learn instruments because there wasn't much to do. So I would get home from school and just play guitar and teach myself, and also to impress a boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's the lucky chap?
Do I name him now at this point?
Yes, I think you should.
He was the brother of my sister at the time's boyfriend, and I thought I was completely in love with him. I wasn't, but...
Did you write your first love song?
I did.
Can you remember what it was?
It was called... No, I won't play it because it's terrible. But it was called Us Alone, I think, and I recorded it on a little 4-track device thing that someone let me borrow from school. But then I started playing guitar and realised my dad played guitar in a band years ago, in several different rock bands, and I think that part of him had been passing on to me, and I picked it up, and I soon forgot about this boy, and I just liked the guitar.
Tell me about your dad. I mean, do you have a clear memory of him?
I do, because we'd see each other on weekends, and then every other weekend, and then once a month, and then pretty much never. But I do remember that he got me into having an interest of war and history, and
he was an undertaker, wasn't he?
Sorry, his family were, yeah, undertakers.
Not many laughs there.
No. But again, it gave me kind of a morbid fascination and all this stuff. So I remember that, and I remember that he had a good sense of humour and made me laugh, and also he's a phenomenal guitarist.
So you missed him, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first stopped seeing him, it just sort of, we just stopped seeing each other. I can't even remember why. And then I just kind of, I know it's been too long now, so I don't know what he's like now. But
you don't?
No.
I mean, it must have made you very insecure about your thoughts about your dealings with men in the future.
My mum's now happily married.
Yes.
But I did find it hard to trust people, particularly men, and I've gotten over that now. But in the beginning, I always thought that was like, if I had a boyfriend or someone, I always wondered why they were so nice to me, sort of thing. Even though they were just being...
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're through that now, are you?
Yeah, I am. I think it's safe to say.
What stage do you start writing a diary, and why do you write a diary, and what do you put in your diary? Was this the beginning of the songwriting in a sense?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
So you put down what, emotions, and put down.
I wrote down some pretty heavy stuff for an 8-year-old.
What's heavy for an 8-year-old?
Just quite dark poems and my thoughts on things. Very specific things I remember in history and things that happened at the time. When Princess Diana died, I had pages and pages of thoughts on it. I felt like I was already falling in love with boys quite young. Being infatuated with boys, and so I'd write about them. Mm-hmm. And eventually that turned to poems, and eventually to songs, yeah.
I mean, you've written several songs about your father, haven't you? And I think this one, I Know You Care, this is about your father too. So what is this song saying about your father?
I think I used to be very angry and bitter about the situation, and that I didn't understand why things had turned out the way they had, and why he wasn't around, and why I didn't think that he cared. I wrote this song because I sort of became a bit more peaceful with it, and I accepted it, and now I'm more just like, I'm sort of almost a bit sympathetic or something like that, because this song is just saying, I know you care, but I know you're just trying to save yourself from something.
So you're resolving, in a sense that...
Yeah, well, because if I spent the rest of my life being bitter about that situation, I'd never get on with anything, and I'd always be thinking the world owes me a favour and stuff. So I think that by writing songs, I really do get things off my chest, and then I can just leave it, and then I can perform them, and then it's done.
Sounds like a form of therapy as much as anything.
Yeah, definitely.
You think it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Ellie Goulding.
Clinging to me like a last breath you breathe. You are like home to me. I don't recognize this street. Please don't close your eyes. Where to look without them. Outside the cars speed by. I never heard them until now. I know you care. I know that it's always been there. But there's trouble ahead, I can feel it. And you are just saving yourself when you hide it. Yeah, I know you care. I see it in the way that you stare. As if there was trouble ahead and you knew it. I'll be saving myself from a ruin, and I know you care. I used to run downstairs to the door when I thought you were there. Too shaped to the comfort of us. Two lovers locked our love. Oh, but I know you care. I know that it's always been there. But there's trouble ahead, I can feel it. And you are just saving yourself when you hide it. Yeah, I know you care. I see it in the way that you stare. As if there was trouble ahead and you knew it. I'll be saving myself from ruin. I know it wasn't always wrong, but I've never known a winter so cold. Now I don't want my hands in your coat, but I still hope, 'cause this is how things ought to have been. And I know the worst of it wasn't all that it seemed. Why can't I dream? Why can't I dream? 'Cause I know you care, and I know you care. I know you care. I know you care. I know it's always been there.
It's like a mosaic, that lyric, in a sense. There are all kinds of sort of snippets in there, observations, surreal things. It's strange.
Well, when I write songs, I like the idea that I like writing about things that are very personal to me, but also that I know that a lot of people have talked to me about that song. Because there was another situation where I went through a breakup, and I remember very specifically suddenly hearing all these cars and stuff, and it was almost like this period of isolation and happiness between two people had just suddenly like broken apart, and then all of a sudden the outside world was coming back in, and it's like that happiness had sort of, yeah. So I use a bit of kind of, I don't know, artistic license and move things around. And
but it's all from your life, from your life experience.
Yeah.
Let me make a silly observation. I was interested to read in the research about your adventures with the bailiffs. You've not written a song about bailiffs yet, have you?
No.
Tell us how they featured in your life.
There was just a situation where, I don't know, there was some sort of bill or something that hadn't been paid maybe, or I don't know. Anyway, they tried to take my guitar away, apparently. I wasn't there. And my computer, which I'd bought, my grandma gave me a bit of money for university, and I bought a little computer, and they tried to take those two things, and I don't think I've ever been more angry in my life about anything, because they were my two things that I used, for the computer to play music, to write stuff, and not Notepad anymore, like write my songs on the computer, and then yeah, my guitar, my prized thing that I'd saved and saved and saved for. So I just never felt more angry about anything in my life. Luckily they didn't get taken, but I think that was just a sign that things had got a bit bad. It was such a horrible time that now myself and my family look back on it and think, oh my goodness, you know. But we kind of, at the same time, we had to find things like that funny. We had, you know, not like, you know, not letting them in, and then if the electric went, I'd play guitar, and, you know, we'd sit around in the dark and stuff like that, you know, we'd make it fun. 'Cause one thing I would say is that from everything that me and my siblings, who are great, have got a really good sense of humour, you know, because we've sort of been through all that stuff.
You bought all that stuff that you needed, required, yourself. You worked from the age of 12, right? Mm-hmm. What were you doing at the age of 12? What were you working at? I
was sweeping up hair in a hairdresser's.
Were you?
Yeah, and making tea and coffee. Then I was working in pubs, clean toilets for a bit. And eventually, yeah, waitressing, anything I could find, really.
And the purpose for this was to just keep your head above water, to buy the instrument? What was it?
Yeah, do you know, me and a lot of the people around me were in the same situation. We were all on this, like I said, we're all on the same, you know, council estates, and so we all got jobs. We just wanted, you know, we wanted to. It was sort of just in us that we wanted to make money, and so many of us wanted to sort of break free from that and go to college and go to university, and it was this really amazing, like, not camaraderie isn't the right word, but I felt like the harder things were for people and the people around me, you know, the more people wanted to get out of it and write music and do anything.
So you worked your way through university, you paid for yourself?
Oh yeah, when I actually got to university I had a couple of jobs. Yeah, I worked in the theatre for a bit, and I worked in a clothes shop. Yeah.
Let's now talk about your songwriting. Get hold of your guitar then, and then I'll show me. Now, you're self-taught as a guitarist.
Yeah. Apparently, I play with a very unique style. I'm left-handed, but I learned right-handed. But when I think the first song was just really the simplest chords, which are kind of known to be those. But I would play with a plectrum for a long time.
Yeah.
And I actually started playing electric guitar, and then I moved on to acoustic, but yeah, these were like the simple chords, and then eventually I started working my way up and finding more interesting. But most finger pickers sort of use all the...
Yes, 3.
But I've sort of gotten into this speedy way of doing it with just 2 fingers, which is like...
So in the process then of writing a song, is that where it starts? Do you sit at the guitar and find a chord?
So yeah, it's either I love finding things where I like finding shapes that I can. I think at the time I was conditioning myself to play at things like open mic nights where I knew that I would have to concentrate on singing and playing, which actually took me about a year to do them both at the same time. So I was looking for shapes that I could just work around easily to play. So it would be like one shape and then I'd find anything that sounded nice around it.
So the song Guns and Horses, now how did that start then? Did that start with a shape?
Yeah, it did. I kept playing around this. And at the time, this is a little bit weird, but I'd met this person online who was a musician, and we'd become very fond of each other as friends. And I remember him telling me that he found it, during quite a deep conversation, that he found it quite hard to express his feelings and emotions, and that he found it hard to actually love someone for that reason. And I became a bit fascinated by that idea, because obviously I was, you know, full of love, and you know, so that's what I wrote Guns and Horses about.
All right then. So just demonstrate now how it came together, just for a brief thing.
Well, I think the piano was just like. Now the chorus is. But I wish I could feel it all for you. I wish I could be it all for you. If I could erase the pain, maybe you feel the same. Well, I do it all for you. Well, I do it all for you.
Etc. Well done, thank you. Just finally, I'd like to ask you, there's a downside to fame. Sadly nowadays, the idea of fame is sold as a cheap gift. A lot of children or young people go into it for the wrong reasons, because it's difficult to cope with. I'm sure that you found that too, haven't you?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
I felt like I just wasn't really ready for that. I hadn't come from any kind of remotely show business, obviously, background. And I nothing could have prepared me for it, really, because I don't even think I had that really, you know, big scale of fame. I think that when I won the Brit Award and when I had the BBC Sound of 2010, various other things, I felt like, you know, I was suddenly in the spotlight a little bit, and cameras and paparazzi and stuff, but not to the level that some people get to. But I have friends who are at that level, and it's actually not very nice. So when I did used to say, I want to be famous, I don't know why. Like, I thought fame was something very different to what it is. And I'm sure people say this a lot, but
yes,
it really isn't, it's not that glamorous.
It's much more difficult for a girl too, for a woman, much more difficult, because the focus is different on you. It's a more distorted focus than it is on a man. You know?
Well, yeah, I felt for a long time that I had to be really skinny and constantly looking good. And then when I finally realised that's not what it was about, I stopped caring. But for a while, I did get very insecure because I never came into this to be like a pop star, like a pretty, good-looking pop star. Like that was never my thing. And the reason I got to where I was because I constantly played open mic nights and sang over and over again. And that's how I got my record deal. And I didn't get to where I was for anything else.
No.
But that all of a sudden I was being talked about in what I was wearing and what I looked like and my nose, my chin, whatever. But it's just very bizarre because I didn't necessarily ask.
You didn't buy into that, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you.
But I think people assume that because you're in that position that's what you want. You want to be judged for your clothes,
Yes,
and you want to be judged for certain things
There's
and
a
wearing the
degree of
right
that.
thing and makeup and.
All right. So then, in the future, what do you see then? Where ideally would you like to go from here?
First of all, I really do at some point need to take a break because I've been touring non-stop for 5 years. So I'd like to take a break and write again and maybe write for other people. And I just need to be in the studio, I think. But I'd like to be a recording artist, musician for a long time. So hopefully that will happen. But if not, I don't even know what I'll do.
Well, how old are you now?
26.
It's terrible. Really old person, aren't you? You're going on. No, you better hurry up. Now listen, now at the end we're going to sign off with another of your songs, and this is called Explosions. And how did this come about?
This came about a few years ago. I think this was another one that was like a story that got into my head, the idea that somebody pushes people away their whole life without realising it, and then it's quite sad. I do write about things that are more thought-provoking than anything, so I do end up writing quite sad things. But anyway, the idea that the world's coming to an end, and there's all these explosions, and then they've got no one with them to, when the world ends. That's really sad, isn't it?
It is very sad indeed, yeah.
But it could be interpreted in different ways.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll send the audience home happy in any event. Ellie Goulding.
You trembled like you'd seen a ghost, and I gave in. I like the things you need the most. You said, where have you been? You wasted all that sweetness to run and hide. I wonder why. I remind you of the days you poured your heart into, but you never tried. I've fallen from grace, took a blow to my face. I've loved and I've lost, I've loved and I've lost. Explosions on the day you wake up needing somebody and you've loved. It's okay to be afraid, but it will never be the same. It will never be the same. I left my soul bleeding in the dark, so you could begin. The words you said are still untold to me, and I've lost my faith in everything the nice you could cope, your intentions were gold, but the mountains will shake. I need to know I can still make explosions on the day you wake up needing somebody and you love. It's okay to be afraid, but it will never be the same. It will never be the same. And as the flowers moving and your body starts to seek, I was a lost thing on your mind. I know you better than you think, 'cause it's simple, darling. I gave you a warning, and now everything you own is falling from the sky in pieces. So watch them fall with you in slow motion. I pray that you'll find peace of mind, and I'll find you another time. I will love you another time. Explosions on the day you wake up needing somebody and you love. It's okay to be afraid, but it will never be the same.
Well, that was wonderful. I enjoyed that, and you're a very remarkable young woman. Ellie Goulding.
Thank you.